Well, welcome to the second episode of the Startup Joint here at KEA-TV. Today joining us is Stefan Bech from the company Wantr, explaining a little bit about your whole entrepreneurial experience and actually also focusing on the challenges, which our viewers would very much like to hear about. So first of all, could you maybe explain a little bit about the Wantr service?
Sure. So we call it Wantr because it's all about the things you want. And what we've created with Wantr is a shopping tool that lets you collect all your favorite online stores in a single place. Our technology keeps a watch on these stores, and every time they add new arrivals, we let you know. It's about saving time. It's about making things simpler, really, and at the same time trying to create a new and interesting way to discover new things, because there's also a social element to Wantr. So as a user, you're able to follow some of the stores that other users are interested in. So it's also it also provides a way to discover like new and interesting little niche stores that you didn't know existed and things like that.
How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah.
And maybe if you could explain a little bit like a milestone timeline from the beginning of the creation of your idea to where you are now and all the challenges you've occurred.
Sure. We started out on this journey sort of in January 2012. So it's been like 15 months now, something like that. And before embarking on this journey, we both came out of the sort of web and advertising industry. We were really inspired by this new way of discovering products that has sort of entered into the web, where people discover things to buy or to look at in a very social way, and it's become very visual, with services like Pinterest that's very much driven by images and pretty pictures and things like that.
So actually were there any challenges in collecting the team, or did you use your network?
I think I was lucky in the sense that I knew some really good guys, and they would span the different competencies that we would need. The back-end engineer, which is the architect, and then the front-end guy who's really good at turning a design into a website that you can actually navigate. And my co-founder, he's an experienced user experience designer. So everything that has to do with how the website looks and how it works and all that, that's really his turf, and he's brilliant at that. And I've spent 10 years as an account director and a project manager for all kinds of web projects and digital projects. So we kind of, among the four of us, we had another engineer working in the Ukraine. So we were actually five. We kind of had the skills that we needed to actually execute on this this vision that we had.
To make it actually a prototype of the service.
Yeah.
Were there any challenges in? I'm thinking about like the project managing of the whole crew and like the payment and
like the main challenges, I guess, would so we to touch on the last thing that you asked about with the payment and so on. We raised a little bit of capital. I committed some cash from my savings, and I had a friend of mine actually who also committed some cash. Startup funding, and also the advertising agency where I came from, a company called Hello Group, where I was a partner. Also invested in us. I've
also investigated a little bit about that. You got some seed capital, 600,000. If I'm understanding it correct.
Yeah.
So how? And congratulations on that, by the way.
Thanks.
But how did you do that? I'm thinking it was pretty hard to do.
Sure. Yeah, and it was. I mean, we had the first meeting with Seed Capital, who's the venture fund who invested in us, in about a year ago, actually, April last year. What we wanted to do was just sit down with them and have a cup of coffee, and get on their radar.
Was that a deliberate strategy from you?
It was, yeah.
From the beginning, just getting on their radar, because you know that in some point of time you need some capital.
Yeah.
If we start now slowly, then we might solve our challenges in the future even easier.
Exactly. And it also takes the pressure off, because it's not us trying to make a hard sell, where we have to convince them
right now.
The next week we need cash, It's more like we're not raising capital right now.
So use of networking, getting introduced, helped you a lot, and also making this kind of a strategy of a long-term strategy of just an introduction, maybe how to raise money.
Yeah. You always hear from I guess savvy entrepreneurs that you should always be raising, in the sense that you're kind of talking to investors and just not hard raising, but just letting them know that you're
putting some
there.
Seeds
just planting some seeds, exactly.
Okay.
And also you should raise when you don't need money, right?
Yeah.
Because when you have when you have your back towards the corner and you need cash tomorrow, or the company's gonna go belly up, that's a bad position to be raising capital in, because it doesn't feel safe.
Oh.
And if you're negotiating valuations and things like that, you're in a bad negotiation position, really. So raise when you don't need the money, I think, is the learning. Yeah.
Well, I think actually that was it.
All right, cool.
So Stefan, thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
And see you next time at the Startup Joint.